What is going on, guys? RealDallasN here with another podcast video. I have a good friend, Terrence Leon, on with me today. Terrence is a singer, I believe songwriter too, right?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So, we somehow met in Austin at just like a random chance, I guess. I had my old boss come in and asked me if I wanted to host a little music show, and I was like, okay, like sure, like I guess like so I ended up going to this place and I ended up meeting a lot of these really great artists. Terrence was there singing, and it's a really fun time and I had a great time. So again, this is Terrence Leon. Terrence, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I mean, that was kind of the bread and butter.
Yeah.
I am a singer-songwriter. I am Austin-based. I'm from Austin. I am one of the last remaining Austinites, the last of the Mohicans around here, I hear.
I feel you. I moved back to Dallas. I don't know if I told you I moved back to Dallas, and
No, you didn't.
I did. I miss Austin so much.
When did that happen?
So actually at the beginning of the new year. So I kind of was like working a lot over there, and then things just kind of deteriorated. And then I had a part-time job at the gym, all the, 24/7. I had it part-time basically. And so, they requested me to kind of come over here into Little Elm, which was great. It was an opportunity to kind of come back home, save money, and just kind of get back on track, I guess, with life.
Yeah.
Which is good. So, I ended up taking it, and just turned to a good opportunity, and I'm just kind of living here full time. But I think I was literally talking about this today. I was like, I don't think the food here is as good as it is in Austin at all. Like, I'm honestly kind of missing it a little bit, and all the taco trucks and all this stuff. I miss it.
Yeah, food is kind of a drug around here.
Yeah, absolutely. For real. I mean, I feel like it's, everybody goes to Rainy, everybody parties, and then once you're done with that, you lounging around to the
food trucks.
Food trucks is so good.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. So tell me a little bit about this music journey that you basically endeavored on. Like, is this like something that's recent, or is it something that you've been doing for a really long time? Or tell me a little bit how about you got into music and got started with that.
So I've always loved music. I still have the letter, and I think my granny actually has the book because she has a book for all of her grandkids. Mm-hmm. But it's like the letter I wrote to Santa. The very first thing that I've ever asked for was like a microphone.
Nice.
So it's like if that wasn't in the cards, it certainly was on the deck. But middle school was like band. High school was choir. Mm-hmm. Music has always been like a safe space for me. Like, it still kind of is. Like, I process a lot of things through music. Even if I don't release a song, I might write a song about it or about a person, or I might, gift or sell the song to someone else that might be able to convey the message better than I can. Mm-hmm. But I kind of feel like the music journey more or less chose me, because I've tried to quit it a few times, actually.
Have you? Don't you dare quit. I actually I really like your voice. I think you have a great voice.
Thank you.
So basically you create like only like R&B, or what else? So I know you create songs, right? For that, like, so you do songwriting, you do R&B. Is there any other genres that you do, or like, do you do like one hits or something?
I'd say like trap soul. I have done some soul records. I think my first mixtape was like a mixture of R&B, trap soul, and like soul records. Mm-hmm. I've also ventured into like pop. Is kind of like a nebulous term, because pop really is just kind of popular music. So pop can be hip hop, pop can be R&B, it can be rock. It's just really what's popular at the time. But I guess you're more so traditional understanding and nomenclature of pop.
Is that does pop mean popular?
Yes.
No shit.
It's always
what the fuck?
Conflate it with something else. And like, I understand that there's like a cultural meaning behind pop. Like, you think of a different sonic sound whenever you hear pop. But pop in the 90s was R&B. Pop in the 80s was more of like a soul, bluegrass,
like the Whispers,
like mixture. Yeah, like the Whispers.
You like the Whispers?
Like, that was the sound. Yeah,
I love the Whispers. No one knows who they are. I literally at least in my friend group, I'm like, bro, y'all not fucking listening to good music?
Not enough people do their research on music.
Yeah, it's true.
You have to study the greats, regardless of how great they were as far as like the metrics of consumption, be the charts or whatever, or record sales, or, you know, your metric of weighing their greatness. You have to study those that still stand the test of time. Because we're what, like 50, 60, if not 80 years outside of their heyday.
Yeah.
And we still know their songs. They're still being sampled.
Exactly.
So there's obviously something magical there. We all like, as an artist, I'm speaking as an artist, we all should kind of like study back the greats and learn. So yeah, I know the Whispers. I know a lot of the people from their time.
I love the Whispers. I literally, like, I kind of forgot about them for a really long time. And I remember when I was like 8 years old or however old I was when I played Grand Theft Auto, like Vice City or something like that. I remember I'd go around like fucking driving like a badass. Like I'd be like, yeah, I'm driving safe. I'm not running over any hose. And I'd be driving. I'd be like hearing the Whispers going like, oh yeah, here we go. Like I'm like driving on the beach. I'm feeling good. Vice City, jumping over a bridge or something like that. And
so my friends actually hated playing Grand Theft Auto with me because I had to run over people when I was driving it.
Hey, it is what it is, honestly.
It was the easiest way to get the stars, and then I could start using the cheat codes, and I could actually figure out what cheat codes work. It was like how I verified that I still remembered the cheat codes. And so they were like, so are we going to clear the chapters? I was like, yeah, but let me, you know, possibly blow up a building real quick. You know, like that kind of stuff. Like,
Okay, did you play it on PlayStation?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I think it's the only one that they released it on, right? Or like
it's all that it's
PS2?
on. I have an Xbox now, so those days are gone. But
yeah, it's like I remember the cheat code: L1, L2, L1, R2, left down, right up, left down, right up.
It sounds to me like you're gonna make me start lying on this interview.
What?
I don't remember any of those by heart. I don't remember any of those by heart.
I feel like that was like basically the scheme. Like I remember I went to a book fair or whatever at school, and I feel like there was like they always had this like cheat code thing if you read enough books, and I was like always like, oh fuck yeah, I'm gonna read so many books like to get my tickets at the scholastic thing, and I bought cheat code books for it, and it had Grand Theft Auto.
I would never buy the cheat code books. I instead would bring a book in and start writing them down as I look. So everybody else is like, I already knew the books I wanted from the book fair, so I would get them and like have them with me, but I would go through like the games that they had the cheat code books there, and I would just write down what I wanted.
That's a 5-head move. That's a 5-head move right there. I feel like I should have done that. Like I could have just gotten paper, but I think there was a few attempts at that, but then the teachers kind of caught on. They were like, "Hey, fuck you, can't do that." I remember I bought a puppy poster and I wrote on the back of it.
Well, yeah, okay, that's different. I usually got the little spirals and I would just open them up and start writing in them. And whenever they would come by, you know, I would be like, "Oh, you know, I'm just trying to like write down the name of the books that I want next time."
Yeah, sly. Okay, you teach me the game. You teach me the rhythm of it.
Allegedly, you didn't hear this from me.
What is it? 911. please don't come over to us. Hell yeah. So going back to like the music stuff. So you like the Whispers. I mean, if you guys don't know who the Whispers are, you should 100% look them up. I feel like you got Rocksteady, you got And the Beat Goes On, you got all this good stuff. Honestly, I think And the Beat Goes On, I mean, just to talk about them for a second, I feel like that song recently came on again and I remembered it. And I was just like, dude, like what is like that playlist? It was like Flash FM or something on that game. And I was going through and I was like, dude, I like miss this song so much. And I played it and I kind of at the same time, I don't know, like I guess it was recently, like in the last few months. And I was just like kind of contemplating how I moved to Dallas. I was like, this is stressful or whatever. And then I was just like, I listened to it and I actually sat down and listened to the lyrics and I was like, damn, this is actually like dealing with like past relationships or whatever. And it's just like, damn, like, this is like good stuff. Cause it teaches you, it's like, well, like no matter what, like you're always going to be able to move on. There's tons of things out there to do and be happy about. So like, just make sure your beat goes on, make sure you keep plugging away at your life and keep on your mission, keep on your grind and just have fun with life. It doesn't have to be. Also, one of the lyrics is like, if someone wins, someone's got to lose.
Which is a fact of life.
For real. I was like, dang, like I didn't even think about that for a second. And I started realizing how much I've been winning compared to how much I've been losing. I was like, it's a good quote.
It's remarkable when you actually start adding it all up.
Yeah. So again, I watched some YouTube videos and whatnot, and there's this guy that I watch. His name is Andrew Tate, and he's like, basically, he's like, I'm gonna put you guys on some game really quick. You guys need to look at some soul music. So, so I went back and I started studying like, you know, some of the ones that he gave me. But then now I'm like going back and like, you know, re-listening to a lot of the old songs. Like, excuse me, some of them I feel like you have to be careful with because some of them are just kind of like love songs and super sappy and weird, but like half of them sometimes are like really about real life shit, like, you know, you got like the OJs, like Backstabbers and all that stuff, like yeah, I feel like you can learn so much things from music. So I mean, at the end of the day, like, I mean, I can kind of study the lyrics now and just really get something out of it. And I don't know how you feel about that, but
I feel like that's really what music, not necessarily what music is supposed to be, because music is what you make it, just like life. But I do feel like songs with a message lyrically can be found a lot more places that people look, because people get like Outkast, perfect example. Hey y'all, he was just like, y'all ain't really listening, y'all want to dance. Lyrically, he's talking about some real stuff. However, we weren't like, I was in 5th grade, obviously it was all over my head, but when you actually listen to it and read the lyrics, it's just kind of like, oh, this is a nice beat. You know, he's delivering it in a way that's commercially viable, but he's actually talking about some really heavy stuff. And again, none of us were listening. We just wanted to dance.
Damn.
So I think that could actually be transposed throughout history. A lot of songs that we love, like Jagged Edge, Let's Get Married, when you listen to it, people are getting married. They're actually talking about, well, I'm not doing nothing else.
Yeah, exactly.
You're not my first love. It's not that I want to marry you. I'm just not busy at the time.
Yeah.
And so,
damn.
Yeah.
He said, might as well.
It's lyrically the lyric. We're not getting any younger. We might as well do it. That is the hook. And everybody sings it like it's just not there.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like that's awesome. I mean, to be honest, like I love that. I mean, I feel like it's a really cool concept, but you know, to only go back and study all that. But you know, what's cool about like the modern age is I feel like they kind of like I there's a group called the Venga Boys, right? And they're like this, like, you know, super Euro trancey kind of like when you think of like Darude Sandstorm, like anyways, they're kind of going back now and they're like making a song about like 1999, and I'm like, bro, like I didn't think it was that long ago. It's like literally 20 something years. Like that. I mean, obviously I'm like 26 now. I was born in 96.
I mean, we didn't have to bring it up, but yeah, you're right.
It's crazy.
It is.
But anyhow, like nowadays, like people are kind of remixing like old school songs, like throwing it into modern day songs through samples, and like it's really cool. But it's like that's always kind of been a progression of how it works. I'm guessing, you know, you can, I guess some people go through records and like I know one that's really popular is like man, I can't think of it off the top of my head. Man, no, I'm blanking. I can't even think of it right now. But anyways, nonetheless.
There's so many to choose from.
I know. Golly.
I mean, like, if you think about it, sampling has been happening since the 70s.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I feel like house music or whatever. Was it house music in Chicago or something like that started doing
house music did, I believe, started in Chicago. It's either Chicago or Detroit. I believe it's Chicago, but I might be confusing that with trance and with that started in something else started in Jersey. But I believe you're right.
Yeah, there's like
one
of the
critics. Please don't crucify me.
I know. Yeah,
claim to know everything.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, you could also like just take it to like those top states, you know, like freaking, you know, Michigan, Chicago, Illinois, and then like New York. I feel like that whole like area, basically, those 3 cities were pretty much like, you know, with New York, you traditionally think like jazz and like hip hop, you know, backgrounds, and with, you know, either Chicago or Detroit for sure house music or something like, you know, like. I mean, at least Detroit, I feel like it'd be a little bit more soul. And then with Chicago, I feel like, yeah, you have a little bit more of that like free spirit, like, house music stuff. I think that's what it is. I have a friend that works in Chicago and they have a company that says we love house music. And basically it's like in the Chicago 4 stars and like, even
then, yeah, it has to be them then, right?
Yeah. I think so. Well, I'll have to research this after, but anyways, I'm sure that we'll figure this out by the time we get to the end of it, but cool. So you said you kind of were raised around music and you wanted to sing, like, since you were born. Like, were you influenced by anybody in your family, or like, what did you basically listen to, just soul music while you were there? Like, was it your grandmother? Like, who exactly got you?
Not so much like singing around the family, because I mean, like in my parents' youth, they were more musician like, but as obviously like I guess, I don't want to say grew out of it, but it just wasn't prevalent for what their needs were at the time, is the way I would frame it. But for me, it was more so like hearing artists like Sammy. You know, I'm a kid, I can sing. Sammy's a kid, he can sing. So singing his songs was just kind of like real easy for me.
Yeah.
Not to, well, I'll leave that where I left it.
Yeah.
But but just kind of like understanding that I don't even know how to articulate it fully. Just music just resonated with me on a level that was deeper than probably anything else. So I feel like a lot of people would say like that magic is like what addicts would talk about, like when they first did it and they were like, oh, this is me.
Yeah.
Music, when I first really just kind of like could understand what music was at the youngest age that I possibly could, was probably like, that's my thing, that's my drug.
Absolutely. And so I always question people. I'm like, how do you even, I mean, I guess a lot of people start in a choir or whatever it is, but like, how do you kind of understand what to sing and how to sing? And like, how do you check yourself? Do you usually have to like hire a vocal coach? Can you self-teach yourself? Like, how does all that world work? Because I've always been interested in learning, like, apparently I'm a baritone, but I don't know. I have no idea. Like, I mean, I know it's like middle, I guess. And then it's alto, baritone.
Actually, yeah,
and then tenor.
Well, no. Those are, so it's like bass, baritone, tenor, alto, and then soprano.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay.
But you have like different things in the middle, like between a alto and a tenor would technically be contralto, but altos is like, you know, as far as the choral standard is pretty wide in range. They can get pretty low into the men's area. They actually most likely can get lower than I can.
Yeah. Tenors?
Because I'm a tenor.
Wait, altos?
No, altos.
Okay, so altos are
altos have really, really rich lower register.
Man. So I mean, I kind of wonder, like, do you have to hire a voice coach to like tell you what you are and like understand it, or?
I mean,
or is it kind of just you just singing into it?
There's no wrong answer. It really depends on what your situation is. Like me, I innately could sing, but learning how to sing properly took me a lot further than just opening my mouth and just singing.
Yeah, exactly.
But I didn't do any formal training. I was just in choir and just kind of like picking up on, you know, certain things, certain vowel placements. It's like, oh, this makes the sound like this, or things of that nature. And
so it even gets before intricate, like with like vowel sounds.
Yes. Damn. Yes. Like, where do I place it? Is it more nasal? Is it more, you know, back in the recesses of my soft palate? Is it more chest? Am I singing from the diaphragm? Or like, how do you, because even before I went into choir, it was like listening to the radio. So it was just kind of like, well, how are they singing?
Yeah.
You know, like when you listen to Brandy, like, how is she singing? When you listen to Coco, where is her voice sitting? Like, Coco's voice is really pure, gets up there. Even for Marvin Gaye, like, it's very, it's airy, but at the same time, it's still so full. It has a smoky texture to it. It reminds me of like a barn fire, but at the same time, it can be other things. And it's just like, okay, so as a singer, how do you bring out those different textures? How do you emote? I'm getting too technical, but
no, I love it though. Like, I mean, I literally think that a lot of people don't have any idea how to like even think about any of this stuff. So it's like cool to kind of hear you go into this and be technical about it. Because for me, as a music guy, I love music. I worked in the industry for like 4 years. I used to go clubbing like all the time. Like so many things that I've done, right? And done music production. I've DJ'd, I've done all this stuff. So it's like, now I'm kind of like, sometimes I like, practice on my guitar back here. It's like that one right there. But sometimes I like, catch myself wanting to sing better. And then I kind of like looked up a YouTube videos like, well, how do I sound like blah? And basically they're like, well, you need to be original basically. So don't try to imitate anybody else's sound, because you're not going to sound like them. You're going to be like fucking wondering why you suck. Well, it's like, if you can harmonize your own voice and like kind of figure it out, like, by just saying, hey, I'm going to sing along to this song, but maybe I'll find some, experimental or instrumentals. And then you can kind of like add your own flavor to it and go up and down. And then you just practice that over and over again until you're like able to do it. Maybe you hit it. But again, even if I recorded my own voice, I'm like, this sounds like shit. So.
Well, I can tell you that even for me, because like, I know that even like, I have a thing of wanting to lower my voice, because I know that for a man, I have a higher speaking voice, right? Yeah. So in that same vein, to bring it back to the point where you're talking about, you use the same vocal cords when you sing. So I'm stressing my voice just talking, and then I'm also going to sing, which is, you know, they talk about vocal athletes. That's literally a thing. Like, singers are vocal athletes. Like, it's a whole intricate thing with your abs, and a lot of people say it's a diaphragm, but it's really more so your abdominal muscles
okay,
influencing the diaphragm. You have to make sure that there is a certain way that the air flows. You have to think about how all of this is working. Is your nasal cavity involved? You know, like certain stuff like that. So
yeah, it's like hard to open up your nasal thing though. It's like if you have like sinuses or something. Like I have like terrible sinuses, I feel like, you know, so mine I get.
But it depends, because sometimes for some artists, because singing, everybody says don't sing through your nose, and that's inherently false. It's
really?
A little bit low.
I follow that all the time.
You're singing through your nose, through your nasal cavity, you get the resonance just a little, unless you want to be hypernasal, which will give you much more of a nasal, you know, like a nasal placement. And some people do that when they get to their higher register. And for some artists, it does work. It's very palpable. And for others, it sounds really disgusting. It just really depends on your anatomy and how you have trained your voice, but also how you produce your sound and then where you're resonating from. So like for me, I was, because I was lowering my voice and stressing my voice all the time, I had to understand that I was developing a rasp. So when I was singing, I was getting raspy. I was like, oh, it sounds so nice. It has this smoky texture, da 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 da. Then I got nodules, and I was like, oh, wait. This is not nice anymore. I can't really sing anymore. So I lost my voice for a minute.
Is that why you were going to the ENT doctor? This is like recent? Oh, shit.
So last year was when I had my nodule scare, but I had caught it just before they were able to actually solidify. So they were just like little white, how do I explain it? So your vocal fold, how can I vocal folds?
Yeah.
This. And so in order for them to meet properly, they have to do that. But they're doing that like hundreds of thousands of times per second to produce the sound.
Yeah. So
if you have a nodule, you have this, and they're trying to. Oh, that's out the camera. You have this. So think these are the nodules. So you have these meeting first, but the rest of the voice still needs to do it. So you have that air that's still getting through. And nodules are essentially just blisters on your voice.
Okay. Is that normally kind of like right here or like
right in here around where
so you're basically your throat. Yeah, okay. So that makes sense, because I feel like anytime whenever I'm like trying to hit some high notes and I sing for like, you know, more than 20 minutes and I'm like singing along to the same song and I'm trying to.
But you're pushing for it, aren't you? You're reaching for them.
Yes. So that's the thing.
I don't push for mine. I reach down.
Oh. So you gotta like.
Well, I mean, like,
you gotta be like mine.
See, like that. I was trying to hit those notes before, and that's how I got my nodules. But because that's not in my voice type. But even like for low notes, I push them up. For high notes, it's counterintuitive.
Yeah.
For me, because I'm a tenor, and my voice moves a little bit different than a lot of other voices.
So like tenor basically be like kind of in the middle, where you can stretch it up here, you can stretch a little bit down here, but mostly it's like
tenors are the high males.
Okay.
So like Marvin Gaye, The Weeknd is a spinto tenor. Michael Jackson was a tenor. For baritones and basses, generally you would be like, who's out today?
Miguel?
No, he's a tenor 2, if anything, but certainly a tenor.
Miguel.
Maybe a tenor 1. Not sure. But it's kind of weird because like choral singing versus pop singing isn't exactly the same approach. It isn't the same use. It's completely different. But Barry Manilow, Frank Sinatra would also be another probably baritone. If I'm thinking of his music correctly, it's been a minute since I've listened. Barry White for sure. You know, like those deep, rich, like Jasmine Sullivan and Brandy, like when they get down in those, and Layla Hathaway too, but when they get down in those low notes that just kind of like vibrate in your sternum.
Yeah.
When men do that, that's like a baritone or a bass.
You ever heard of Josh Turner?
I haven't. Should I look it up?
He's like a country music artist.
I
feel like whenever someone tells me like how deep my voice is, I feel like I can go like down here, like, and so I used to do like a lot of like voice acting stuff. And I still do it. Like I literally like all day today, I've just been like going off on like the country stuff because that's where I'm from. I'm like from the country basically. So it's like I'm used to all the country music and all. But also like there's a lot of country people and country folk who are just like, hey y'all, like how are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, and so basically Josh Turner is like has a song that called like Will You Go With Me or Will you go with me?
Yeah,
Anyways,
see, you're
it gets
more
like
like a baritone.
so low though, like it's like ridiculous. So I think that might be somewhere close to where I would be, but again, I don't practice singing daily, so it's like a nap.
Very interesting
on my TV. Oh man, so cool. So you basically started learning how to do all this. Did you have an instructor or were you all self-taught? Like you had choir, right? Or
I started out self-taught,
okay.
and then I wanted, because I mean, a lot of people think like, oh, choir isn't really a great thing because it's a lot of ego in being an artist. For most, you have to kind of like battle and tame that ego. But a lot of people want the solo, but they don't have what it takes to maintain the solo, and it's just kind of like they get frustrated when they're back in the choir. But you don't understand like learning how to blend and make your voice one one band, one sound, but making your voice all different voices, all different ranges as one is an impeccable skill. Because even if you can't do the solo for whatever that particular piece calls for, you understand where to place yourself into the music, and you understand what it means. Like for me, if I didn't want to do like singing as an artist, but I wanted to be a background vocalist, I could do that because I understand what it means to blend, how to blend, and different types of blending that it would take to tailor to that specific artist. And that's an impeccable skill. A lot of artists can't do. Well, take that back. It's not that artists can't. It's
they have
that
to work at it for a long time.
Well, I don't think that. I think if you have the ear, because that's really what music all is about, is the ear.
Well, I'm deaf, so
it's. But if you have the ear for it, you can step in and do it. It's just, will you be able to do it in a place that's kind of like background vocals? Okay, whose background vocals can I use as an example? Brandy's background vocals, right? They all sound like Brandy, right? It's just Brandy in different areas of her range.
I gotta be honest, I don't know who Brandy is, but I'm gonna go along with it. I need to know. I mean, trust me, I don't.
Brandy, Moesha, I wanna be down.
Nope, no idea. I gotta.
Okay, I won't do it.
You gotta send it to me. Send it to me, and
that's
literally
fine.
I will listen.
On it. It's cool.
I want you to text me every artist that you ever talk about on this right now, and I swear to I'll go through and I'll just be like, all right, bet I'm here.
Okay. But okay, so hers sound like herself, but she's also blending really well. But then you also have artists like Jodeci, where it's everybody and they sound like a choir.
Yeah.
But it's only like 4 guys, but they sound like a full choir.
Yeah.
And you can hear every note sometimes, and then sometimes it just sounds like a wall of sound. And then you have artists like
okay, that makes so much sense. Like the Whispers, like I mean,
different types of blends.
It's like in the background, they're like all the same though. Like they have like one main guy, and then they have like 3 in the back going like.
Can be.
Yeah, it's like kind of pushing that one up there.
Can be.
That's so cool.
The way that I do my backgrounds is they're like secondary leads. So sometimes I even get my backgrounds.
Oh, so you can go deep with this, like layering.
You can go deep. You can layer it.
Wild, yeah. Because
you have to understand how to blend.
Yeah, like reverbing and like
not just reverbing.
Spatial.
Before you even get to any of the production side, you have to understand what you're doing for them to be able to do that in production side.
And that's basically like volume and like timing.
Timing,
and
texture.
Like so basically like like far, near, like or back,
far, near, far. Am I being breathy? Am I being more of a direct vocal? Am I more head voice? Am I more chest voice? Like what am I arching for? Like is my voice here? Am I singing from the back of my throat? Am I being nasal? Like it's all of those things. Like what sounds the best?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, are you doing it healthily?
You got to be careful with that. So, I mean, I guess if you strain your throat like basically too much, or your diaphragm or the voice, basically you can damage it permanently. And like, I think Miley Cyrus is probably like one of those examples, right? I think I saw something one day where she's like she has issues now basically from her past, basically seeing like Miley Cyrus. Or all the other stuff that
I think it's weird. Miley Cyrus has a really, really beautiful beautiful voice, specifically for country and bluegrass. And I'll give her credit. Some of her R&B cuts I do enjoy, and I have liked. However, there are a lot of creative liberties that it can be, you know, even with me as an artist, me not living her life and not knowing her personally, there's only so much that I can know. I can infer, I can make educated guesses, and there's some things I can speculate, but I won't know for sure. Only Miley would know. Yeah. But I think that a lot of the screaming, like when we scream, we're just throwing them together. That's a great way to damage your voice. If I'm not speaking properly, that's a great way to damage your voice. If I'm singing in a style that's, let me take that back. It's not so much the style of singing, it's the way that you approach the style. Yeah. So I can sing opera, but if I don't know how to properly sing opera, I'm damaging my voice. I can sing R&B, but if I don't know how to sing R&B in a way that's healthily for me, I'm damaging my voice. And I think that's where the conversations, when a lot of YouTube tutorials come in saying, be your own sound. Because if you're chasing the sound and aesthetic of another artist, you're always going to be not only in their shadow, but never truly using your instrument in the way that it was made. So if you're not using your instrument in the way that it's made, you're changing the instrument for one. Yeah. Because I think Jennifer Hudson talked about it in an interview for once. Because like everybody's like, oh, she's just loud, she's just loud, she's just loud. Like the music she sings changed the way that she vocally can approach certain things. Yeah. So if I'm singing death metal that has like a lot of grunge and, you know, like, you know, yeah, like, so if I'm doing that, if I'm doing it healthily, I can do that for 20, 30 years.
Oh, that's awesome.
If I'm not doing that correctly, I can do that for a week and I'm done.
Yeah, that makes sense. Wow. That's actually cool to think about. I mean, this is all really cool advice, by the way. I'm like very glad that we got on this topic because like basically it kind of helps me kind of go hand in hand. Okay, but what I'm going to do, I'm going to do us a 360 here, right? Okay. So my channel is usually about
180.
It's about yeah, basically. So we usually do I usually do like a little bit of men's advice basically on here, right? So I'm going to ask you a little bit about maybe where this kind of the singing, all this stuff that's come along with your journey, like, you know, whether it was easy or whether it was hard, or, you know, what milestones have you kind of hit that were like really challenging, you know, and do you have any advice for like people, you know, out there for basically how those challenging times were? I want to hear a little bit about those challenges and the way that you feel about it and how it's been for you, I guess, like coming up as an artist and trying to just make it out there. I know that's a lot of information, but you can be general as you need to be.
I think that being true to myself has gotten me further than anything else. I think just really accepting myself for who I am and recognizing my own boundaries possibly was one of the most beautiful. When you create an environment where you don't have boundaries and then all of a sudden start recognizing and then enforcing, obviously there's going to be a very negative kickback to that, because it's, you know, people are used to violating you, or not really violating you because you allowed it, but people are used to treating you how they treat you, and you're used to interacting with the world a certain way. So then you have to relearn yourself how to interact, not just with the world, but then yourself again.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I think a lot of times we forget that we need to set boundaries with ourselves. Because I had to work on a lot of negative self-talk, but that's an internal boundary. That's a boundary I have to set with myself. So just the same way I have a boundary with you that I'm going to interact with you, I have to have a boundary how I'm going to interact with myself.
Yeah. No, I feel that. So I'd say, like, basically, I mean, not only that, you kind of learn the boundaries of your voice, right? And then that's another kind of thing that kind of ties in together. It's like really cool. That's actually really cool. So, I mean, I feel like that's like a really strong thing, right? For me, like, I kind of had to realize that I was like, you know, when I was in Austin, I'd be really completely honest, like, you know, it's just a lot of partying. It was a lot of like going out to these clubs and not really like vibing with it anymore, but like just like not setting the boundary. It's like, hey, dude, like you don't need to be going out, or, you know, it's, I don't know, like there was like a just continuous mixture of like fuckery, and maybe it's just because I was stressed and it's just like because I needed to express myself or something, but like I just kept going and like kept diving into that stuff, and it's just like, at the end of the day, right, I could have done a lot more with my time, I feel like, in terms of being successful, and like starting this podcast was like something that was so important to me for like a long time, and I just refused to like fucking get up and do it. Like I've had this equipment for as long as I can remember, you know, like I have like my webcam that I make videos on like now, like I literally, I have all this stuff. And it took me, you know, this long to realize, like coming back to Dallas, that it's like whenever I got back here, you know, like I had to break, I guess, either the boundary I was setting on myself or like just like realize what I really needed to do and like, step up and face that for the most part. So, so you have a beautiful voice, right? It's very high, and I absolutely like, I love it. Like I literally, when I did that show, I was like, dude, that's like the coolest thing I think I've done in a long time, because it just gave me a chance to like get out there and just meet new people. And like honestly, like I was scared as fuck to like talk on that microphone. I was like, okay, like, you know,
I could not tell.
I know, but I was like, I had to like throw myself out there, and I was like,
but that's the mark of a true professional, because
oh man,
I people say all the time that Beyonce still gets nervous. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I believe it to be true. Because regardless of how well you are at doing something, when you're presenting, like artistry, people don't really understand is like when you're doing it authentically anyway. Artistry is kind of like stepping out in front of the world naked in a lot of ways. And
I can fucking vouch for that shit. This was like weird for me. I was like, am I even doing this right? Like, am I talking to people? Am I like having good conversation? Am I even getting anywhere with this stuff? Like, exactly, like, am I bringing value to the world? And like, it feels like weird because people will kind of look at this and be like, why, you know, why is he doing that or whatever? Like, what's the point, you know? And he has like 12 subscribers. Well, it's like literally I started with zero.
Yeah.
And now it's like 20, right? Which is great. Like, it's not a lot, but hey, that's 20 main people who I've talked and connected to and said, hey, like, this is what I do now. Like, you know, I may not be far along on it, but hey, like, this is what I am. And
correct.
You know, and that took some vulnerability, you know, to sit back and think this, because I feel like I've done this a few times and maybe I just haven't had like the correct network around me, you know, or like maybe I let the boundaries of like my friends get in the way, like, you know, if they made me feel like I'm stupid for doing it, or like, and I know like in the end, like a lot of people were very supportive, like, and very supportive of the endeavors that I've always done. And I could always appreciate that. But again, there's sometimes those things, and sometimes people infiltrate into those little spaces in the cracks. And it's like, you start hearing those words and you're like, God, like, you know, whether it be someone close to you or someone not close to you, it's like, you know, you have to like kind of battle those things on the inside of the wall.
I kind of feel like a lot of that can be true at the same time. So I can say that I've had and still have a lot of people that are supportive of the things that I do. I've had moments where they were possibly more intrusive in ways that they probably meant to be or cared to be, with like, you know, saying things like, I've heard your little song, like regardless of whether it's said in a positive connotation from you and the way that you send it out. That is actually something really, really negative to say and very disrespectful.
Yeah,
and
it's like they're not respecting your like hard work and talent that goes into this.
Correct.
Like, it's like not easy. And trust me, guys, I'm gonna be fucking honest with you guys. Music is hard as fuck. Like, I literally did it for like 4 years and I still couldn't figure it the fuck out. So it just takes time, and it takes a lot of good knowledge and like skills. So if you like think that music is easy, maybe you're born with talent, but like to some, it's like you have to work through this. So,
but talent isn't everything, though.
I know, exactly. Hard work is
talent when talent doesn't work hard.
Exactly. I love that quote.
It's not everything, but I think that a lot of it is people need to understand that just because that's where you aim doesn't mean that's where you land, and your intentions are immaterial. So really, it's what effect did you have, and I think that I think you were saying that it was possibly like the wrong network that you had around you, or you didn't know enough. That possibly could be true, but I've also learned that a lot of people, as much as they want to say like, oh, I want to help people, they're very much gatekeepy, and they're very much kiss the ring, but they don't really have much of a ring to kiss. And I don't really kiss rings that don't really have nothing to bring. But I also recognize that even ants have a queen, so you may be royal in some respect of how you view yourself, but it doesn't necessarily mean that your reign and authority is valued or recognized over here. But even with that, I don't have to interact with you negatively. You know what I'm saying? Like it's all really so much in how I want to respond and interact.
Yeah. That's
So I think
interesting.
it's interesting. Like I've been a lot of cool places. I've met a lot of cool people. I've done a lot of cool things, but I think ultimately it matters to leave a great impression, and it matters to be aware of the way that you're interacting and the way that you're landing, more so than anything else.
I agree. I agree. I've noticed some of my language sometimes goes off the charts, and I'm like fucking. Like I literally like literally saying that like 24/7. I'm like, geez, like why am I doing that? And I think only through like watching myself and kind of watching these videos after, because like I love literally rewatching. I rewatched like all my podcasts at least like 4 times now, and I'm like, oh, like that was good nugget of information. Like that was funny. Like wow, why was I saying that? Like chill the fuck out. Like. So it's kind of funny that, you know, it's like a game of constantly kind of retying yourself together and like, you know, ripping apart and then like kind of tying it back together with a different piece and just like all together. Like, I just feel like all that intrinsically becomes that artist of who you are, right? Like this is an art, you know, singing is an art, like basically. And if more people looked at art instead of like just being like, oh, you're an artist, like, okay, you're a music singer. Well, it's like artist can be painter. It can be, you know, like an art, literally. I would say like news anchoring could even be an art. Like it's like, right. Like these guys like read off a teleprompter super fast and they're constantly like,
that's a skill.
Like, you know, it's like, that's crazy.
Set. Yeah.
So
it's a skill set.
Yeah. So it's interesting. So, I really resonated with like the whole like being naked thing, I guess, in front of like a stage. I mean, and I know a lot of people think like you should probably like picture the crowd naked too, so that you're not like feeling as like vulnerable, I guess. But were there any other fears that you basically felt like along this journey of singing and like getting in front of people and stages? Like what else have you kind of faced and maybe overcome in terms of like the music industry, or like maybe trying to get your music out there and uploading it? Like how'd you go through the Spotify process with all these things and getting it out there, like and facing it?
I think learning first and foremost before it's like, because obviously there's an educational point of it. You have to know what you're talking about. Mm-hmm. The music industry is one of the very, very many industries where you create the rules as you go. Mm-hmm. So long as I'm not infringing upon your human rights, which some contracts do, you know, your civil rights, which some contracts do, or anything that's in the Declaration of Independence, which some contracts do.
It's like you can't go out and talk.
Right.
Britney Spears.
Right. Perfect. Exactly. But at the same time, it's just kind of like understanding that all support isn't equal. You get to support, and then I get to see your support, and then and then like really observe and say, I want to participate in this, or no, I don't.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And that's more so for me. I had to realize that it's more of a self-preservation thing. Mm-hmm. But also realizing that no one's going to come and save you. No one's here to help you. Yeah. You have to, I've learned, because I've always
quote. No one's coming to save you. I have 4 rules again that Andrew Tate guy I told you about. Is like literally, it's like, you know, believe you're the man, or what, you know, believe you're the man, woman, whatever. You know, 2, you know, get pissed off. Number 3, no one's coming to save you, and 4, mean what you say. Those are like the top 4 iron rules of his lifestyle. And I've literally collected them, and like since doing that, it's just been so, like my life has just been so different, because it's like I finally realized like I just wasn't believing that I could do any of this stuff. Like, and you know, I feel like maybe like you feel the same way. Like maybe you just didn't believe that you could do it, or maybe you do, and I don't know, you had to learn how to do all that. But
I think that like realizing that a lot of it is more so, because you hear it all the time. It's not what you know, it's who you know, yada, yada, yada. Yeah. But whenever you come to a point of just like, well, damn, it is who you know. Because I'm working just as hard. I'm doing all of the things. And by all of the people that, you know, have the things to say, or all of the people that would associate as a gatekeeper, or someone that will say like, oh, come talk to me, I can put you on. Everyone can say like, you know, I'm doing all the things right. And there's always a but. And the but became a thing of where it was just kind of like, because recently I partnered with another artist named Kira Nova, and she's amazing. Y'all go check her out. But we've partnered for Chromatic Entertainment, and we're just kind of start putting on our own shows, because for me, it was just kind of like I could ask to be on stage. I'm not really interested in paying to be on stage.
Yeah.
I'm not doing shows for free anymore. I'm not showing up for $50 to $100. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just, certain things just don't work for me intrinsically.
Yeah.
And I've always been a trust but verify person.
Yeah.
But maybe the last 2 years, 2 years has been me overly verifying, and overly verifying has actually saved me from a lot of legal repercussions.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's been a lot of expensive lessons. I can tell you that. Very expensive lessons.
Been through those. I feel you.
yeah. Like those were. I still dream about them today, but just understanding the way that it all kind of like interconnects, because all of it interconnects. Like if I'm not in a good mood, you can hear it in my voice. If I'm in a great mood, you can hear it in my voice. Have I been sleeping well? Well, I haven't been sleeping well, so I'm not well rested. You can hear it in my voice. I can't really read a contract, which means I'm not going to make a great decision, which means, you know, I can make or break an opportunity that could get me to the next step. And whatever that next step is quantifiable. Everything is scalable. Everything is within a certain scope, because my success is not the same success for someone else, because I don't have the same goals. And understanding that has been an eye-opener for me, because everyone wants to play the game of comparison. And when you're not so much younger, but not really knowing where you want to go, or even if you do know where you want to go and you're just looking at the people in the field and you're just trying to compare yourself. Comparison is a thief of joy, for one.
Yes, and then two, it really is, dude. I feel it.
And then for two, I don't care about what I don't care about. And I just had to be honest with myself. A lot of the things that people care about, I flat out don't care about.
Exactly.
And it was like a point in time.
It'd be like
but
that.
Like, how many times do you find yourself trying to care because people care? And it's just like, I just had to be honest with myself. Like, I was miserable doing that. I was miserable trying to make things work. And when 2022 came, I just said, I'm not overly explaining myself. I said what I said. The distance between what I said and what you heard, that's your responsibility to clean up.
Yeah,
because I said, and I'm always here to provide clarification. So if you don't care to get it, there's nothing I can do about it.
So that's part of being a professional right there. I mean, guys, that's a good lesson. I just want to like throw that out there really quick. Is like that. Regardless of like, you know, you have to be you who you are, right? And just because like another person didn't understand it or interpret it correctly doesn't mean that it's on you, right? You as a professional can clarify anything, right? Like that's totally cool. Like, and it goes back to this whole like idea of, you know, caring about shit that doesn't fucking matter. Like, literally sometimes, like I think in Austin, like the last few months I was there, you know, it's just like I was hanging out with a group of people, and I just knew that like I just wasn't fitting in, and I tried so fucking hard. I was just like, I care so much about becoming a better person that I I didn't believe in myself, and I didn't believe in anything that I was doing. I didn't know where to go. I was just so lost, and it's like I just was like clinging to the next thing that I thought was cool, like show me how to be, how to date, show me how to how to be cool, like how do I get into these parties, like all this stuff. And you're following these fucking people around, and like it's just, instead of being authentically you and saying like, hey, I believe in myself, hey, like I'm a cool person, like I literally thought I was like mentally ill for a second, because I'm like, what is wrong with me, and why do I keep like
nothing
connecting to people? Exactly.
Nothing's wrong with you. And it's weird because Austin has a slogan of keep what is it? Keep Austin weird or something like that. I don't know, because they don't live by it.
Yeah. But well, I mean, it used to be, but it died. But Austin's still weird in some way. But it's like
that weird kid though. I've always been weird. Always been weird. And so with that, it's always been a weird, so much as you're comfortable with weirdness, a weird in a way that's palpable for you. And I don't know anyone on the face of the planet who has a heaven or hell to put me in, but I just, until you can find one for me, what am I supposed to do if it doesn't fit for you? Like that's more of a personal problem. And I just had to realize that, because I was talking to one of my friends named Mahalia the other day, and I had did something. She was saying something, and she was just like, I want to say something. And I made a joke, and she was like, never mind, I don't want to talk about it anymore. And so I kept like trying to overly follow up with her. And she was just like, don't press me. I've set the boundary. Leave me and it alone. And I was just like, oh, great. I've ruined another friendship. And she doubled back like an hour later, like, I can't expect you to have these boundaries with other people and then not have them with me. So if I say that there's nothing wrong, it's on me. Or if I say that there is something wrong, it's on me to provide the clarification. You can't always follow up. And she went on to say that like you have PTSD from trying to audition for acceptance with people that you're supposed to belong to. So you always have to audition for the love for the people that's supposed to love you. And it hit me for a moment because I stopped texting her back for like an hour, and I was just like, I don't know what I did to be read like that, but no therapist. But that is one of the most sincere forms of love, to be like, I love you enough to let you know that you don't have to always clean up mess that's not yours. Yes.
That made me smile so hard. Right? That was really good. That's really cool.
Loves me. That is love.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I feel like that only comes from authenticity, you know? Like, I mean, I'm starting to realize that right now. It's like I just kept trying to just fucking force something that's just not meant for me. And it's like, you can't force it. You just literally have to be authentically you and just accept it. Because at the end of the day, you're all you got, you know? And those four tenors, the four tenets, tenors. Help. my brain. You know, I just feel like, I'm so glad that you said that, because I feel like at the end of this podcast, I mean, I feel like as we're wrapping this up, we have to wrap it up soon. We're already literally an hour in. Oh, almost.
Well,
like 52 minutes in. That's wild.
Wow.
We've been talking for so long already. I feel like we just got started. See, this is why I want to talk to people more. I feel like I got to start bringing people that I really like on and like just do multiple of these, because it's like I have so much to say and like so much to like dig into about life, and it's like, I don't know. And as time goes on, you obviously learn a little bit more, like what happened in the last 6 months. What are you learning now? Like, you know, so I definitely love to do this again with you and talk with you,
and I'd love to come back.
Absolutely. I'm like legit. Yeah. Like I just think it's really cool. Like it's such a small world, and I wouldn't have met you if it wasn't for Okirian. And, you know, I don't know if you still are in contact with him or do whatever with him, but, I miss him too. I literally haven't talked to him since I left, but he works so much, you know, he's at the opposite hours, and I'm like, well, I can't, I gotta move.
Here's what I'll say. Everybody's busy. We're not kids anymore.
Yeah, true.
So send a text message, leave a voicemail. It's
exactly.
I have people that I haven't seen, excuse me, for like 6 months to a year. And some of them will be like, why haven't you called me? And then I'll ask them, well, my number's been the same since the 6 months to a year. Why haven't you called me?
We get so lost in life, though. It's like, I forget that I even have numbers. Like, I forget that I even have his number in my phone.
But isn't that mutually, though? Yes. Isn't he always, also not always, but always, isn't he also living his life?
Yes.
Doesn't he also have things that happen to him that life is actually forcing him to address? So it's not exclusive to you. So if both parties want to communicate, if you are constantly overextending yourself to communicate with him, that's one thing. Mm-hmm. But if there has been mutually no communication, either pick up the conversation or leave it alone.
Exactly.
That's the way I look at it. That's just me.
Yes. Yeah. Like so this is where it comes with the love, right? Like, you know, like I genuinely just feel like, hey, bro, I got love for them no matter what fucking happens. Like, you know, I had my experiences, you know, we've been very close. We worked very closely together and like had very many experiences where we were just like sitting there late night at the hotel working our asses off, you know? And then there's times where like I literally haven't talked to him in like months, and I'm like, dude, I hate that. But at the same time, I'm like grateful for any of that time that we had, and I'm grateful for the experience that like I had to meet you, and like literally that just like there's love there, you know, between me and him for sure. Because like if he hadn't hit me up, he's like, oh, he'd be perfect for it. And I'm like, oh, like okay, like I've never done that before, but it got me out of my comfort zone, and it honestly taught me a little bit about like just like not having to be so prepared for shit, like just like go, dude, like just go, like push you off the cliff. Like he was like the reason why I like kind of started getting a lot more confidence. And you know, I broke like very shortly after that, because I feel like that was one of the main lessons that I was missing. It was just like, you are capable of more than you really think. Like, and so, you know, that connected me to you. And like, honestly, like now that I've started a podcast, we haven't talked in months, but like but like we see each other on Instagram. Like I love, you know, keeping up with people. And so it's just like, it's just crazy to think that down the line, because of like that one connection, it led you to this. And now it's like you have something to talk about, or like, you know, whatever it even is. Maybe we didn't have anything to talk about. Maybe we just made all this up. But at the same time, it's like that's connection right there. And that's like, you know, that's just raw. And that's what I think I want to do with this podcast. I just want to connect to people. Like care who it is, you know, but like I also feel like, you know, people can genuinely, it's an advice channel really, but at the end of the day, I think I might just turn this into a legitimate, like just advice in general, like, you know, stories. Like I just want to talk to people, and I feel like that's an original quality because no one's doing that like me. And you know, no one has our connection, no one, you know, and you could look at Joe Rogan's podcast, how big it is, and I'm sure he's doing the same thing, like just the way that he is, you know, dealing with a bunch of his friends and inviting his friends on and being like, oh, I really like that guy, you could do it again, you know. Like everybody's unique and everybody has a special talent, and I just really appreciate about people, and it gets me excited to do these things and talk with people like you. Like literally, I think we just had so many nuggets of gold. It's like already, it's just like I want to know more now, and we'll definitely talk more about this for sure, but I genuinely appreciate you for talking with me for this hour.
But of course,
but at the same time, I don't think I even asked for your Instagram handle or anything. Like what social medias are you on, so that if anybody watches this, they can follow you and listen to your music? Like I know you're on Spotify, so tell the people where you're at and how to get to you.
So my name is Terrence Leon. It's all E's, TERRENCE. For social media, you will put an X in the middle, but then it's LEON. Okay. I'm on Instagram, Twitter. Literally, if DistroKid has a plug there, I'm there. So literally everywhere that you can listen to me. DistroKid? DistroKid. That's my distributor. So DistroKid is where you would go, like when I'm done making my music and I want to put it on Spotify, I put it on DistroKid and they submit and do everything.
Oh, okay. I've been seeing DistroKid somewhere in like lines. And I'm like, dude, why does that sound familiar?
Yeah.
But that's cool. So yeah. Anyways, guys, well, go follow Terrence, and honestly, please send me that list of artists I need to check out, because I don't want to.
I'll have to watch it back because we talked about a lot.
That's fine. Exactly. But yeah, give me that list and I will go listen to some music. I actually have I got to get out of here at some point soon. But guys, go follow Terrence. If you watch this whole podcast, like enjoy the nuggets that we gave you. Be real, be authentic, be brave, chase your dreams. God damn it. and learn
take
lessons.
No shit.
Take no shit. I'm fucking with that. I love that. And also curate your vibe. Create your vibe. Don't try hard. Don't try hard to fit in. You're gonna be excellent just who you are and just how you are. Get there. Just do it. Anyways, man, I really appreciate you. Thank you so much for coming on the show, and I will end the recording now, guys. If you guys can, watch the videos from the channel, and you can subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment down below if you can as well, just so it gets some traction, and like the video as well. I'll probably post this on Instagram stories so you guys can see it. But anyhow, nonetheless, you guys have a great night, and I'll talk to you soon.